Hey, what is up, Patreon peeps? It's Rich. All right, finally this frickin' piece is done. I have all sort of iterations of it that I had printed out for myself for reference and whatnot. So, yeah, let's talk about the process of this. I think this is going to be extremely educational for people, and it's literally the process of bridging being a fan to drawing professionally under just, you know, an array of circumstances that a lot of times will be out of your control, especially early in your career. And, you know, as much as you guys know me as an inker, you know, when I take jobs like this, I'm kind of at their mercy. So, some of the stuff that I talk about today will be, it's directed at myself. So what I mean by that is everybody's going to have a different set of circumstances, but I'm going to kind of show you some of the problem solving that I'm having to go through with my own work. Some sort of shackles that I have on myself, and then also just drawing in general, drawing the piece, like what were the obstacles. This is going to be a great video. You could apply this literally to any single drawing that you ever do. And then also in the big picture, how do you transition from being a, you know, quote unquote wannabe to actually doing stuff, you know, and this is a big sort of early job for me to do something for Iron Maiden. So, my original, I don't know if I have my original doodle printed out. I don't think I do. This is, well, no. So anyway, we'll kind of go in order. We'll say that this was my original, one of my original prelims. This is actually more detailed than it was. But so I sent my art director 5 prelims, as every story that you'll ever hear from people that draw, they picked my least favorite of the 5 that I sent, the 4 or 5 that I sent. So look, I can learn something from that right out of the gate, is if you have one that you're not crazy about, maybe just spend an extra half hour and work on 1 or 2 more that you do like, and then be real selective of what you show them, because ultimately you're going to have to draw one of them, and, you know, for whatever reason, they tend to gravitate towards the one that you're not as wild about. I don't know what it is. And it wasn't like I didn't hate this one, but there were other ones that I thought were better, and they were honestly quite a bit easier to draw. So anyway, like, I've only drawn Eddie one time before this. I mean, I drew him once in high school, and I've done, you know, like jam sessions where I've done sketches of him. But traditionally how you see Eddie is there's 2 ways. Is you see the painted kind of Derek Riggs versions of him, or you see the comic book that they're currently doing. So I had told Lexi, who's my art director, that I kind of wanted to go the Kevin West route, which is pretty, I don't know if simple would be the right word. He's real solid, but it looks like comic art. Like when you say, what does comic art look like? Like it's like Kevin draws that way. It's just, it's not Top Cow. It's not Image Comics. It's like he could draw, you know, a Superman book, just whatever. It's just nice, straightforward stuff. So I'm like a shotgun blast. I've got 50 million different styles that I've worked in. You know, like I'm out of control. What do I say? I'm like someone getting on a motorcycle and just gunning it. And then I try to jump off ramps, and I eat shit most of the time, but occasionally I'll land something. So, and I'm going to be real critical of myself on this piece anyway. So actually looking at this right now, I kind of like this better than the finished piece. So there was a lot of elements to juggle here. Like, I've never drawn a motorcycle. Thing was a fucking pain in the ass. It was so hard. And my original sketch of it, she was kind of like more behind Eddie. So we made Eddie bigger, and then we brought her out more. But what ends up happening is as soon as you start getting feedback on your art, it's going to be, excuse me, changing from what you originally put down, and it can also be changing out of your comfort zone of what you're going to be called on to draw. Like, I kind of strategically put most of the bike behind Eddie, because I wasn't so much like I didn't do it going like, I don't want to draw this, I'm going to hide it. But I mean, in the back of my mind, I think that there was a little bit of that, like it'll be cool to just draw the handlebars, a little bit of the gas tank, and you know, you see her. But anyway, so then all of a sudden, like, I'm having to commit to drawing a motorcycle at like a perspective shot. I don't even know the parts on a motorcycle. I have no clue. So right as I'm starting the piece, and I had known for a few weeks that I was going to be doing it, but I had a bunch of other stuff that I was trying to complete, commissions and all that. So when I started it, the clock was ticking. I immediately got an email saying that, like, hey, Maiden contacted me. They need this thing, like, right away. We need to have it out, like as soon as possible. You know, when can you have it done? And you're just like, oh, fuck, like, seriously? So now I'm a little bit stressed on that because I don't know how long a piece like this takes. I've never done a 4-character comic book cover ever. So you again, out of your comfort zone. So like I set up the perspective. Once I start working on the big piece of paper, I definitely have trouble keeping it locked down. Stuff drifts, like lines will start to move a little bit, and you know, it's hard for me with an 11x17 board to get my drawings as solid as I would like right now. And I'll explain what each one of these sort of things is. So anyway, so I felt the best way to work through the drawing was to do it in Photoshop. So I just used Photoshop. I actually kept each character on its own layer so that I could, like, do any adjustments that were needed. And it did make it nice for when I would have to go and do corrections. I could really quickly just select the Eddie layer and then go like, all right, his knee is lame, or his shoes don't work, or whatever it is. But what you're going to see, okay, like, look at all this area down here. I really don't know what the fuck I'm going to do down here. Okay, I knew there was going to be cracks and sort of like these big kind of crevices opening up that this green light was coming through. And then there's sort of like stalagmites popping up out of the ground, which is, I think, part of the elements of the game. You've got this guy that's like a chef, like a really, like, blown out chef. I made him look more heroic. He's pretty big and fat in the game, but he's got like a soup ladle and you know, a hairnet on his head. It's kind of a goofy character, but it was all right. I mean, I actually think that overall the gesture is decent. It's kind of got a little bit of like a John Buscema sort of wannabe thing, and then this guy probably not as good of a pose. I mean, that Eddie hand is pretty generic. That was tricky to draw. This up here, the fist with the axe perspective, was pretty challenging. I actually think that it turned out pretty nice. And also, like, the highlights and stuff, I didn't really use reference for it. So, although I looked up what an axe, I don't know, what do you call the metal part on an axe, kind of what the shape really was, because I knew the gist of it, but I didn't really understand how it, did its thing. Like I said, the motorcycle was tough. I just took a couple of different choppers and sort of pieced it together, and then added the elements of it. And, you know, I got a decent face on her for how small it was, and it was like, I was scared to change it. She should have probably had a more dynamic, like, expression on her face, but like I said, I had gotten something decent, and I was just, there was so much that I was juggling in the drawing. And I think me explaining it, you know, this is just a day in the park for you know, a David Finch, a Jim Lee, a Jason Fabok, whoever. Like, these guys, they do this all the time. They orchestrate all these pieces. Big Ben, you know, blowing apart, the British phone booth, a little bit of the houses. You know, it was a lot for me to take on. The moon. I'm not great at drawing moons. I think my clouds were pretty flat. So anyway, so this was what I started working from. And then what I did was, I just kind of did this so that they'd get, like, her bike is, like, kind of shooting fire all out of it. And then the cracks in the ground. So, I printed this. Oh, I printed, oh, did I print? I guess, weird. Oh, okay. So I printed this out, and this is what I light boxed onto my board. So I did the pencil drawing, and, you know, again, I'm feeling like the clock is ticking. But, you know, I left all these kind of large areas that I really didn't know what exactly I was going to draw, and it's really bad. It's a bad habit. It's a bad approach. It's a bad idea. bad, Rich. And you know, look, I don't like relying on quote unquote my inks. I mean, I drew with the ink. It's a weird thing. Like I could have done it in pencil, but I did it in ink, but it's a lot scarier to do it in ink. So anyway, I got the drawing down on the paper. I didn't shade any of the blacks. Again, probably not a great call. If you really look at like Mark Silvestri's work or Finch or any of those guys, they generally are shading in their blacks as they do stuff like this. So what ultimately ends up happening is when you work this way and you're working so piecemeal, ultimately the piece is going to feel a little piecemeal, especially if you're not going to spend like the perfect amount of time for each and every single thing you're going to draw. If you're going to go in and kind of try to move through it at a decent rate, it's going to be tough, and you're probably going to like make bad calls. So yeah, next time I do a piece, I'm actually going to kind of try to do it more in a traditional sense. I may lightbox my rough onto my board, but I think I'm going to really work out everything. You know, like the chimneys on top of these buildings, I picked an angle that really probably doesn't make sense for where they are. The phone booth kind of drifted a little bit here and there. The ground plane is very ambiguous. You know, again, I'm being critical of it because I want to learn and I want to grow and I want to be better. Big Ben turned out all right. It's you know, it was a fun challenge. It was something different, but you know, I felt like I was very slow doing it. You know, it took me, see, and that was the thing. Someone asked me how long did it take for me to ink it. I don't know because I was drawing with the ink. But I mean, I think all total, this whole piece probably took me like 35 or 40 hours. I could be off. It could be 25. It could be 42, but somewhere in that range. You know, and I'm still stressed out. As much as I have work, quote unquote, I've yet to see a single page. The penciler that I'm working with wrote me and was like, you know, I'm kind of feeling burned out. I might not do the whole book. So it's like, you know, of course, right when I'm starting this, I get that news. So I'm freaking out because I still, like I said, I've literally not done a piece of inking work for 31 days now. More probably, because it was kind of towards the end of December, but supposedly pages are coming. But I mean, I have nothing turned in that's gonna make me money. But this piece pays. But you know, spending five days on and off on it was not a good call. But definitely, I think the second or third day I was working on it, I was starting to get really worried because of other stuff going on. So you know, not a great relaxed state, an inspired state to do a piece like this. So anyway, so I got this done, but so the reason that I printed it out and actually inked it over a blue line is just on the off chance that doing the sky, doing the ground, the pants might look completely freaking lame in jet black ink. That's the thing is you can get away with a lot in something like this that looks decent, because there's all these like other lines that your eye can kind of go like, oh, well, maybe he meant that. And it's like when you start to nail them down, then all of a sudden like stuff looks stiff or it doesn't look good. So yeah, just to cover my ass if I completely mess this up, I printed it out in blue and then I inked it. And this actually will have a lot more detail, you'll see, than what you were seeing on the scan of it, because I had to level it and remove all the black. But I mean, if you even look in the hair, like this little chunk right here in the scan almost looks like it's all black, but there's a lot of like fine lines going in there. But yeah, so I mean, my goal was to do kind of a cartoony delivery, and we'll talk about that too, style versus what are the expectations from me right now. When people hire me, they kind of expect a certain thing, and I would say that it falls somewhere between what I did with David Finch, you know, maybe a little bit of the elements of my black drawings, and then whatever, I don't even know. That's how I feel. Now, who knows what they really are expecting from me. But you know, I'm not a comic book artist right now. You know, this is the transition. I think that this is a decent start, like for not exactly a first piece, but like first piece in this new wave of doing things. I mean, I'm not completely embarrassed by this, but you know, so yeah, it's real difficult, like rendering Eddie's flesh and getting it to look kind of like the paintings, and kind of like Kevin West's work. you know, was challenging because Eddie, a lot of the lines on his skin go like certain directions, and if you start throwing them different ways, it definitely looked weird. Like this arm kind of started to get like a reptilian thing going on. Like a little piece of flesh right there on his side, like kind of looks weird because I threw a second set of lines. The pants are okay. Like, I mean, the folds aren't very accurate and stuff like that, but you know, it's like, it's all good. Yeah, so this is what I ended up with. But what I had mentioned is, well, okay, like for Blaster Kid, I've got a very specific thing in mind, and I don't have to answer anyone. If I want to do something a certain way, I can totally do it, and it's not a big deal. And then I've mentioned that I kind of have an idea for a comic book style that I want to do, but because I haven't established it yet, I can't spring it on people and just be like, oh, I'm going to draw like Frank Miller or what, you know, whatever it is. And it's like completely out of left field. Now, once I've done a bunch of pieces and people have seen pages, they'll start to warm up to the idea of, okay, like he kind of works this way now. I sort of see what's going on. I see these pages. I see these covers. But it's like I need a break from actually doing stuff like this to be able to establish that or bridge into it. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I'm going to keep kind of like slowly incorporating the things that I want to do into these pieces, but you know, there's a level of expectation of I think what I'm going to bring to the table, and so you know, have to be mindful of that. Like if someone hires me to do a grifter commission, it's like I kind of have to draw it a certain way, which is tough. It's not easy. So anyway, but yeah, so really great opportunity. I'm under the impression that I'm going to be doing more. There's that Megadeth comic book that I might be working on, doing like an 8-page story, and if I could get more of those, that would be really cool. Lexi has his own IP called Eternal Descent, and he wanted me to do like a variant cover or like a pinup for his collected edition of that, so I'm going to be doing that. But those will all be kind of in this style, hopefully, you know, improved as I learn more things. But yeah, so that was kind of the story of doing this piece. It was really hard. It was a lot of stuff to juggle in one comic book drawing. Yeah, I mean, you really see how planning this stuff out, especially if you're going to take it all the way to the end with inks, skipping steps can be really dangerous. I'm really going to lock down my perspective next time. And really like the sort of more ambiguous areas, like it's a lot of real estate to just kind of go, we'll put something there when we figure it out. That's risky. You don't see too many people doing that, and that's why, I mean, I don't even really like working over loose pencils like that from other people, so I don't know why I would think that it would be okay on my own. I think I can get to that point though when I nail down this quote-unquote other comic book style that I'm got percolating. I think that's where you're really going to see the fast drawing that I do merge with sort of a somewhat more finished effect. I think it's going to look really cool. But yeah, it's like I need to bring the speed. That's the direction. That's like that force is going to be the answer to the back end. It'll be interesting. It'll be fun. I really do think that it's going to be pretty kick-ass when the two finally fuse together. It'll be cool. I can't wait. I need inking work, and then I can do it. Because then I don't have to take more commissions and stuff like that. Okay, smash the like. This is for patrons only. Check out the draw-alongs. Please participate in the draw-alongs. I'm telling you, like, Victor has been doing them. A few people have been doing them, but Victor has been really, like, on it. And I've seen his on Instagram. And, dude, I'm telling you, like, if he keeps doing these pieces in another, like, year, he's going to be really good because he's working on all this stuff. And I bet you anything, like, he can vouch for me. You're learning a lot, and you're memorizing all these little things and all these little you're picking up all this really good information doing them. So Victor, if you want, put a link to your Instagram in the comment section below, and people can kind of check out what you're doing, because you've been doing a lot of drawings. I mean, like you definitely have done quite a few, and yeah, it's cool, man. Good things are going to come from that, as I've told you. All right, I'll talk to you all later. Wish me luck. This is good. This is a good start towards where we're going. Started off a little rocky, and it was stressful as all get out. Oh my God. All I could think of is, like, I can't do this much work and then ruin this thing. So, that would have just been, oh, awful. And the motorcycle was so hard to draw. Oh my God. Never want to draw a motorcycle again. Ever! No. It's all right. It was funny. I was drawing, like, you know, cubes and cylinders and the cubes and all this stuff. And it's like, yes, I know. I could go to Google SketchUp and trace a motorcycle. I'm not going to learn anything from that. I need to be able to draw this shit. All the people that I admire draw. They don't trace stuff. So, for me, it's just not an option. All that stuff is there. Like, Mobius could use 3D models if he wanted his stuff, but he didn't do it. So that's kind of how I look at it, is like, you do the hard work up front, and then if you want to experiment with things later, then that's good. But yeah, those are training wheels that I don't want in my work. So, all right, have a good one. Talk to you later.